Thank you, Henry, for showing us your film this morning before practice. Your films really do help us create the perfect mindset for our medical Qigong practice. So welcome to Friday Medical Qigong. My name is Mary Frances. I'm a student of Henry's, and we are working on our Golden 8 series today. So let's go ahead and open up for our warm-ups. Settling into the space, tip of the tongue is touching the roof of the mouth. And we're going to be doing our tapping exercise, starting 3 to 4 finger breaths beneath the belly button. Allowing the mind to connect with the area with which we're tapping, honing in on that vibration. Allowing the vibrations to start opening up the channels, creating greater qi and blood flow. Allowing the mind to relax into the breath. Traveling down the yang side of the arm. Over to the yin side. And wiping out anything we don't need or want, letting it go back into the earth. We're switching sides. Widening our stance so we can open up the channels in the lower half of the body, tapping the inner thigh and then up at the hip. Enjoying the momentum generated in this tapping motion. Continuing on, starting from the hips, traveling down the yin side of the legs towards just above the inner ankle or wherever it's comfortable for you. Traveling to the lateral aspect, the yang side. Coming back on up. Once you get to the glutes, sliding that left foot a little closer to the right, maintaining that hip width shoulder width distance so you have a nice, comfortable, stable stance. And then continuing up to just underneath the rib cage, breaking up the kidneys. Before placing the palms at the low back, circling down the sides and up the spine, generating some warmth. Resting the palms at the low back, closing the eyes. Inhaling, guiding the breath in the chi to the low back, allowing it to fill up with energy. Exhaling, allowing that energy to flow to wherever it's needed within the body. Inhaling, guiding the breath in the chi to the palms, allowing the low back to inflate just a little bit. Exhaling, allowing that energy to flow freely to wherever it's needed. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. Allowing the mind to relax into the breath to relax the body. Allowing the chi to flow freely to wherever it's needed within the body. And staying present within the space. And gently opening the eyes, letting the arms come back down to the sides and closing by bringing that left foot back to the right. We're working on our Golden 8 exercises today. Lung and large intestine exercise is first. Reach for happiness, inhaling and exhaling. In and out. Inhaling and exhaling. In and out. About 2 more times at your own pace. Allowing the breath to generate the movement. And getting ready to close. Closing. Our heart, small intestine exercise, the archer. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Continuing on at your own pace. Getting ready to close. Closing. Spleen and stomach between heaven and earth. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Inhaling. And exhaling. Allowing yourself to relax into the exercise. Getting ready to close. Closing. Our Sanjiao exercise. Turn and look back. Inhaling and exhaling. In. And out. Inhaling. Exhaling. Getting ready to close. Closing. Our liver gallbladder exercise, twist and release. Inhaling. And exhaling. In. And out. Enjoying all the different elements of the exercise as they come together. Getting ready to close. Closing. Kidney and urinary bladder, bend for help. Inhaling. Exhaling to the kidneys. Inhaling. And exhaling. In. And out. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling back to the start. At your own pace. Getting ready to close. Closing. Our Ren channel exercise, energy punch. Opening. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Inhaling. And exhale. About 3 more on each side. Getting ready to close. Closing. Our energy jump for the dew channel in 2 parts. We're going to do about 5 in each part. Inhaling and exhaling. In, out. Transitioning to part 2, inhaling as the arms come up, exhaling as they come down. And then allowing the momentum to gradually slow. Closing. Keeping the feet together so we can retain all that wonderful, wonderful energy. Bringing the palms together to transfer some of that energy to the palms so that we can then transfer it to the face. Washing the face 9 times. Wiping the brow 9 times. Up and down the nose, 9. Circles, lower, middle, upper aspects, inward and outward. Imagining just underneath the pupils at the cheekbone, in and out. And then dredging the channels of the scalp using all the fingertips. Beating the drum. Grasping the ears using all the fingertips. Popping the cork. Massaging the jaw. Remember, your jaw is turning in the opposite direction as your hand. Our number changes to 12 times total. Glancing up, bringing some of this energy down to the body from the head. And then continuing on down the breastbone, 12 times. Placing the palms at the lower dantian. Closing the eyes. Inhaling through the nose, guiding the breath in the chi to the lower dantian, allowing it to fill up with energy. Exhaling, allowing that energy to settle and store so that you may use it throughout the rest of your day. Inhaling, gathering all the energy that you've been cultivating over the past half hour to the lower dantian, allowing it to fill up. And exhaling, allowing that energy to settle and store so that it may be readily utilized throughout the rest of your day. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. Allowing the mind to relax. Allowing the body to relax. And allowing the chi to settle and store. Thank you all so very, very much for practicing with us this morning. It really means a lot to us that you wake up in the morning, or if you're watching this later on YouTube, thank you so much for practicing with us. Henry.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks, Mary Frances. So today we are going to talk about body shapes and body energy. All right, so we've been talking about 5 elements, and we've been focusing a lot on like personalities, control cycle, generating cycle, and that all has a lot to do with like our emotions, our state of mind. But let's hop back into physical, right? Because in Chinese medicine, we see everything as interconnected. Your mind, your body, your spirit are all one. And so that energy that we've been describing about in that more spirit and mental realm also apply to the physical. Okay, so let's take a look at the 5 elements. So what are the 5 elements again? Just a quick review: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. All right, so correspondingly, we also have 5 kind of body energies or body types. So this is going to be a little bit fun because you can use this. I mean, not that we can really people watch these days because we're on Zoom, but some, more of us are going out now, so we're starting to see other people, at least milling around, keeping your social distance. But you can. It's good practice, people watching and seeing like, okay, is that like more wood? Is that more water. Okay, so today I'm going to try to give you some help with how to define them. Okay, so let's start with the wood. All right, so wood, big picture, right? We say that's the spring season correspondingly, and we talk a lot about in that mental and personality realm about like someone who is getting things done, someone who kind of goes from point A to point B in a straight line. They're the ones who are really focused in on one task, and they're really good about that. All right. So we also look at that in the energy. Okay. So when they walk, they may walk a lot more directed, like they're just going A to B. Okay. Also, in terms of like their posture and their stance, okay, we look at, again, like with spring energy, we're looking at growth, we're looking at birth of something. So we look at like a tree is a quintessential wood energy. So we look at that tree energy also in the body. And, you know, when one thing, okay, also because wood is a yang element, okay, it's more expansion, it's more outward. Okay, in this case, the energy goes up. And you see that in the body too, is if you kind of just look back and look at the body, it tends to, your eyes tend to go to their shoulders, and they usually have very good posture, very good stance. So they're not like leaning over. They would have that really good, like, good stance, good posture, all right? And yeah, you tend, when you kind of scan their body, you tend to look at the shoulders. They usually have very strong shoulders. In many ways, also, energy can get stuck here. Okay, so but they have kind of these like very strong shoulders they can really rest upon. All right. The other thing that you might see, we talked about the wood eyes, right? The wood eyes are that like really direct, and if you look at them, they may be like their eyes may push you back. You're like, whoa, that's pretty intense. All right. So that intensity, that gaze in their eyes, and they may not be doing it intentionally. All right, but that's kind of their default energy is they look around and it's very directed. So that gives you some clues on, so they kind of walk very purposefully, like straight line. Energy tends to go up in their body. So you don't, if you look at if you like, your eyes fall on their feet or their legs, probably not wood, okay? But if there's more upper body, more their shoulders, also maybe their eyes just like kind of bam, hit you. All right, that's more wood. Okay, so let's move on to fire. Okay, so when we look at fire, fire is what we say is the summer element, summer season. And fire is also yang, like wood. So we have two yang energies in a row. So it's again, more expansion. Also energy tends to go up, but wood is like a very steady, very strong up, whereas fire is more, you know, like dancing and flickering, sparkly going up. And you see that in the body too, where it's more of someone who you notice they can't really be still, all right? So in contrast to wood, wood is they can be very still. They have like really strong posture, but fire, they kind of move around, okay? They don't stay in one place. And then energy can sort of go up a bit as you see them. And with the eyes, you know, you see that sparkliness to the eyes. So it's not really that stare. So if they're staring at you, it's probably not fire, all right? But you see that kind of sparkle in their eyes. Maybe they're smiling a lot. You hear a lot of laughter. That's a very good clue that they probably have like a fire predominant body type, okay? All right, so let's move on to the third element in this cycle, earth, all right? So earth, we look at, what is earth, right? Earth is about nurturing, it's about taking care of others. And it's a very important element because it ties everything else together. So it draws everything back to the center. This element, in contrast to the previous two, is more yin because it tends to go more inside and more down, okay? We think about groundedness, we think about centeredness, and that's earth. So in terms of someone who has a lot of earth energy in their body, okay, you tend to look at the lower body. All right, so if you like scan real quick, your eyes default more to, like say their legs, their feet. They also tend to, like wood, they tend to have very solid feet, but your energy is more drawn to there. So they take very steady steps. It may be very slow though. So like in contrast to wood, wood can be very directed and animated in a way, whereas earth tends to be more slow and plodding, okay? And again, like energy tends to be in the lower part of the body, and in terms of the eyes, we see more of like a soft gaze, more like puppy eyes, or very like, well, we talk a lot about sympathy, right, and worry as the emotions of earth. And so we see that in the eyes where it could be a little bit like a very sympathetic, very caring kind of eyes is we're looking for, something that's very soft in nature. Okay, so let's move on to fourth element, metal. And metal is also a yin element, okay? And this one is related to the fall season. And with this, we look at the emotions of, well, overall, it's about clarity, okay? We look at the emotions of sadness, but also compassion. Now, but I like to think of the container store, okay, as a very quintessential metal thing. And so when you look at the body of someone who has a lot of metal, they tend to be very contained, okay? So inward energy tend to be more in the chest, like they hold things in their chest. So it tends to be a little bit more caved in here, you'll see. But yeah, overall, like very contained, very a little aloof in that energy, okay? So it's not outward. So you can sort of, if you're not sure, one way is to process of elimination, okay? Is it outward? Is it upward? That's probably wood or fire, okay? If it's not that, then you can sort of, you reduce now back to 3 elements, and from there, like, is it going down? Is it, you tend to look at the feet? If so, that's probably earth. If not, okay, if it's like up here in the chest area, that tends to be more metal. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the last element, water. Okay. So water is also a yin element. And so it tends to, it's not an outright outward type of energy, but it does, so water can be a little bit of both because there's an immense power of water, and water tends to want to move too. But the movement of water is very like subtle, and it's also more around. It doesn't go down. If it goes down, that's more earth. If it goes up, that's probably more wood or fire. But if it's more like around, and you'll see them like, so there's movement. So you see movement in fire, but fire goes up like this, okay? Movement of water, more, a little bit more central, a little bit more subtle, and more around. And you also tend to see their energy more in the middle, okay? In that belly, waist area, just like earth. But earth goes down, water goes around. Earth tends to not to move, okay? So that's the other subtle differential is earth tends not to move. So if you see someone and you see their energy more in the lower body, okay, but they tend to move a little bit, very subtly, that's more water, okay? So we say elements, emotions of water, that fear and that wisdom, okay? So that all plays a role, but in terms of the physical body, that's what we look at. So more lower body gives you an idea, hopefully, of differential. I wanted you to actually practice this. Maybe even if you're watching, obviously watching maybe some streaming shows right now, if you're not going out, all right? So commercials or TV series or movies, you can see how people move and you can see how people's bodies are, and it gives you an idea of what element they are. This is a very good practice. Or if you're outside, check it out, okay? All right, so that's the differential today. Tomorrow is our Saturday class, right? Is this Saturday tomorrow? Just to make sure. Yes, okay. So we'll be learning the kidney and bladder exercise of the basic gait tomorrow. So we're really coming to finishing up on the basic gait soon, so in probably 3 weeks or so. Anyway, hope you join us for tomorrow. We'll see you then. Oh, Mary Frances says or something. What's up?
Is it typical? Oh, sorry.
Oh, Corey, go.
Is it typical for your physical energy to manifest predominantly in one energy and yet your personality to manifest in yet another?
Well, okay, so here's the complicated thing. All right, human beings are funny this way. So we do want to look for congruency, meaning like there's, you know, when we look at personality, we look at the body, there should be some sort of congruency. But, and if not, then we look at, oh, what's going on? All right. So going back to like control cycle, especially, we tend to kind of have these, what I would call like strong suits, like things that we rely upon in life to kind of survive in a way, or things that work for us, or things that were imposed upon us, especially at a young age, like our parents, for example. Yeah, I'll give you an example, all right? So if your parents have a lot of rules and they're very strict, they tend to have that metal, all right? And that can get imposed onto you. So even if you're not naturally metal, all right, you may have a lot of metal because that's what you were taught, that's what was imposed on you. And so, you know, you may look like you're like contained, or maybe personality-wise also you may also be contained, but your gifts, when we start to dissect, and what I mean by dissect is we're going to look at like individual elements on the face and look at the body and see if there's that congruency. And if not, it's like, okay, well, okay, so their bodies looks more fire, but they're not giving out that fire. Like they're not laughing all the time. They're very contained, or very depressed or whatever, or they don't show a lot of emotions. That's not really naturally fire. Okay, so like then you ask like, well, what's going on? Is there something else going on here? So for example, not to say every single person's like this, but it could be like, yeah, their parents could be more over controlling, and so they learn from an early age not to show their emotions, not to lead by their heart, and that in turn kind of trickles down into their personality. But at the end of the day, they're not metal, and we're going to see it in some of those elements that come up in the face, maybe some body gestures and things like that. Does that answer your question? Sort of.
Yeah, and you actually spoke to exactly the balance of energies that I'm dealing with. Yeah, my body seems to be all fire, but other things are going on. So
yeah, I mean, we're taught not just by our parents, but also like rules in society about how to behave, that kind of stuff. So it's a very common one, especially with metal, because metal has that containment, and more so like it could be like other people, like your parents do to you, or your teachers, but it also some people, it's more themselves. They're trying to hold things in, and so that metal can be very prevalent culturally for all of us here.
Get out of my life! Get out of my psyche!
So what do you do, right? What do you do if you have that metal kind of holding you back? You have to, you have to use some fire to melt that metal off you. So you have to really embrace that fire, really let it out. Okay. Any other questions? I didn't check chat. Sorry, I usually have my chat off when I'm talking. So, okay, cool. All right, thank you. And we hope to see you tomorrow.